Hello, this is Julietta. I want to give a prior heads up. There was a bit more of a mature theme regarding some of the occults. Just wanted to give a heads up because not everybody wants to hear about that kind of stuff, you know. Hello, this is Two Ladies Midwest Adventures. I'm Julietta. I'm reading Days of the Martyrs, and we are on chapter 5. Give me candy. Okay.
Candy is on your way.
Thank you. Nero had failed utterly in his attempt to wipe the pestilential. Of course, you give me a snickers. Quit snickering. Okay. Nero had failed utterly in his attempt to wipe the pestilential superstition of Christianity from the face of the earth. The ranks of those killed were more than made up by pagans impressed by the courage and resolution of the martyrs. The reign of Nero did leave an enduring legacy in the history of relations between Rome and the state, the Roman state and the Christian church. A law known as the Neronian institution that stated it is unlawful to be a Christian. Christianity was formally declared as a forbidden religion. How was the law to be applied and interpreted? Was everyone suspected of being a Christian to be arrested and executed without trial, as in the days of Nero? Were Christians to be given an opportunity to renounce their faith to save their lives? Are members of the forbidden sector the forbidden sect to be tracked down by authorities, or were they to be arrested only if they caused trouble? Over the next few decades, there will be a wide differences in the way the Neronian institution was applied by various emperors. The church knew comparative peace for a long time after Nero's death. After 3 emperors succeeded Nero and each other in rapid succession, a 60-year-old soldier of middle-class background, a man named Vespasian, seized power and held on to it. Cut from a completely different mold than Nero and his predecessors, even according to Suetonius, who was generally hostile to all emperors, Vespasian was an unpretentious man who had never made any effort to conceal his humble origin. In private life, too, the new emperor was, at least for his culture, respectable, moderate in his eating and drinking. He was faithful to one woman, his concubine, Canis, with whom he had lived for many years. Although he went along with the official cult of the emperor's genius, he did not take it seriously. Mindful of the practice whereby emperors were proclaimed gods after their deaths, Vespasian in his final illness would comment, "I think I'm becoming a god." Although he reduced Palestine to rubble, destroyed Jerusalem and its temple, and massacred thousands of Jews, Vespasian left the church in peace. So did his son Titus, who was also represented as a decent and able ruler. During the 70s of the 1st century, many important Romans became Christians. Up until then, Christianity was thought of as a religion of the lower classes. Artisans, Menels, slaves, Jews, and ascetics of the destitute and starving who had no hopes in the world who might be accused of looking for a pie in the sky to preserve their sanity. Now the situation was beginning to change, and wealthy, privileged, and aristocratic Romans began to join the church. Some of the most prominent converts were Titus and Sabinus, son of Flavius Calmans, and his daughter-in-law Domitilia, I think something like that. And Titus Flavius Sabinus was Vespasian's brother. Another powerful and influential convert was Marcus Cilius Galabrio, who became consul in AD 91. Still, Christians were a very small minority, and still encountered substantial opposition from pagans. The historians Tacitus and Suetonius cherished the simple way of life that characterized the old Roman Republic. It had nothing but contempt for most of the emperors and their decadent and pretentious way of life, but had nothing good to say about the Christians either. Tacitus, for example, excoriated Christians as notoriously depraved and dismissed Christianity as a deadly superstition. Why this hostility? As we have seen, part of the reason for the widespread hostility towards Christians was the fact that they were different. Many of their customs were considered antisocial. For instance, because most meat found in public slaughterhouse temples. Because most meat found in public markets have been sacrificed to national gods in heathen slaughterhouse temples. Many Christians refused to buy meat in communities where Christians were numerous. In communities where Christians were numerous, butchers lost money and blamed their troubles on the deadly superstition. In addition, Christians would not celebrate the emperor's birthday because this implied a recognition of his divinity. Many Christians who had the means to do so would not send their children to school, because children were taught about pagan deities. Many Christians refused to be treated in such hospitals as then existed, because those institutions were always consecrated to a pagan god. One of the favorite pastimes of the masses in the Roman world was going to the games. Almost all towns of any size had at least one arena, and there, in the vivid words of Victorian historian Philip Schaff, from sunrise to sunset, men and beasts were sacrificed to satisfy a savage curiosity and thirst for blood. When the famous Colosseum in Rome was dedicated by Vespasian, looks like dedicated. That kindly and moderate man put on a show in which 5,000 and 9,000 animals were killed each day. Nor were animals the only victims, to use Schaff's words again. Painted savages from Britain, blonde Germans from the Rhine and Danube, Negroes from Africa, were brought in to fight the wild beast or each other. Christians were forbidden by their leaders to attend such shows, not only because they were brutal and disgusting, but because all such games were dedicated to some god or goddess. Moreover, many Christians would not serve in the armed services. Although some Christians felt that it was permissible to serve in the army, so long as they were not compelled to butcher civilians. Many church leaders taught that when Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane told Peter to put up his sword, he disarmed all the soldiers. Consequently, many Christian men refused to serve. Even when the penalty for refusing induction was death, "We will pray for the empire, but we will not fight for it," was a comment that enraged many Roman officials. Got chocolate on my now.
Nums.
Okay. Not only did Christian leaders forbid incest, premarital sex, adultery, homosexuality, divorce, abortion, infanticide. I don't know how to say that word. And other practices were almost universally condoned among pagan population. They were also encouraged celibacy. One church father wrote, many may be found among us of both sexes who grow old unmarried, full of hope that they are in this way more closely united to God. The Roman government, in order to keep its population stable in face of a high rate of abortion and infanticide, as well as naturally low fertility rate, strongly discouraged not only celibacy, but childlessness. Caesar Augustus had long ago decreed severe penalty for people who for any reason failed to reproduce. Okay, I can continue now. All told, the life and practices of Christians made them peculiar to the Romans. In addition to this, Christianity was lumped together in the minds of many reasonable people with the mystery cults, many of which, as we've seen, were rather sordid affairs. Worse, another Eastern cult known as Gnosticism was beginning to incorporate a number of Christian elements. This religion was popularized in Rome by Simon Magus, a native of Palestine, who was challenged at Rome by Peter. Gnosticism was associated with magical watchwords and the possession of divinely conferred secrets, which entrance in a higher life depended. The Gnostics taught that matter was evil and that the initiate escaped from it, absorbed in the Godhead. God was pure abstraction, a phantomless abyss. From him emanated divine potencies, which in their totality were thought to constitute the pleroma. Wisdom disturbed the harmony of the Perlon. It fell into the formless world, which was then called hysteria. The hysteria and the hysteria. Where is that? And the pleroma united to produce the demiurge. The Gnostic teachers identified the demiurge with the evil god of the Old Testament, saying that the redemption took place through restoration of harmony, and the pleroma, when the living sparks of light from matter, accomplished when the most perfect aeon entered Jesus at baptism and left him before he went to the cross. Christ, they taught, accomplished his work by teaching wisdom, which was received only by a few select initiates. Not confused, man. And there was a number of Gnostic. Maybe that's what it is. Sect. The Gnostic sect, flourishing in sect as in section, flourishing in the 1st century, and many of them incorporated different Christian ideas in distorted form. Their unwholesome rites. Many of them believed in the incarnation. Some prophets of that patiently unscriptural doctrine today complain. Christians believed in reincarnation until the time of Constantine, and then that emperor burned all the writings that dealt with it. The Christians who believed in incarnations, those works, burned by Constantine. The heck, you just repeat it. As well as other guardians of orthodoxy, were in fact but Gnostics, not Christians. Worse, many Gnostics engaged in obscene parties of blessed sacraments. One of them actually smeared themselves in. Oh! You don't need to see that, Jenny. You can just step away. Okay. Oh, that is disgusting. I'm about to put some viewer discretion advised on this, because this isn't exactly for little girls like that now.
You see nothing.
Okay, so this just feels weird talking about it. Says some of them actually smeared themselves with semen, and after raising polluted hands heavenward and shouting, "We offer thee this gift, the body of Christ," actually consumed it to complete their anti-mass. And to complete their anti-mass, they drank menstrual blood. Jenny, you don't know exactly what those words mean, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
They're just not for you. Oh, that's interesting. Personally, I don't want any of that kind of stuff on me or in me like that. No. I'm not. Ew. That's nasty. Okay, so I'm just gonna end the chapter there. Hi, little gremlin. Ah. Hi. 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 Put the video on it. Oh, well, I'm gonna come out with another video in a minute. It's funny. Maybe, actually, I don't know. Stay blessed, make the world a better place, one person, one moment at a time. Like and subscribe. We can get to 1,000 subscribers to start beekeeping. Don't you dare make the chair fall back again. Okay. Bye.
Like and subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers so we can start beekeeping.